In this week's episode of the Swearwolves podcast, David and I lock up our doors and board up our windows as we review the 1976 movie, The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
We'll begin with a reign of terror. A few murders here and there.
Welcome back to the Swearwolves. I'm Bret.
I'm David.
David.
Yes, Bret, how are you?
I've been better, but I've been worse in the last couple of days too. David, it has been roughly 2.5 years, a little over 2.5 years since COVID reared its ugly head in the United States of America. And I was able to successfully avoid.
You were outrunning that. Yeah.
Yep.
The Grim Reaper, he weren't going to get you.
Well, the Grim Reaper fortunately did not get me. Not yet, knock on wood. But the COVID Reaper did, his younger brother.
He's a real son of a bitch, that one.
He is. He's fast.
He's a fast motherfucker. Yeah.
You know, you take the good with the bad, because what happened was, I don't know if you're aware of this, David, but I went to Walt Disney World.
You had not mentioned that. You rat bastard.
I went to Walt Disney World with the family for vacation. We like to go to with Disneyland traditionally, but this is our first time at Walt Disney World around Halloween time, because that's like our favorite time of year, right?
Yeah.
And Disney always does things really nice around that. More on that in a second, but we went to Walt Disney World, and then on our way home, my daughter started not feeling too well. And so we got home, and then my wife started not feeling that well. And I gave them COVID tests, and neither one of them passed the test.
Did you lock them in your basement? Chain them down there?
Yep.
I'll swallow your soul.
Threw some gruel down there for them.
Yeah, a bucket of fish heads. Here.
My son and I passed the COVID test.
Were you guys like?
Yes, yeah, pretty much. He locked himself in his room. I mean, he's 15. He locks himself in the room most of the time.
He does that most of the time anyway. He sequestered
doing
himself.
God knows what. Probably the same things I was doing at 15. But he was kind of locked in his room, and I was out.
That's a good cover though. Like, you knock on the door. I'm quarantining. Go away.
I was just quarantining.
I was just cleaning it.
Anyway, so we are. I was of course, getting food and water and stuff and dropping it off at the various door stops and whatnot. And then I
a lot of pizzas and pies, things you can just slide under the door. And
then I started feeling like shit, and I started getting really cold, and get the shivers and the headache and everything. So I took another COVID test, and I did not pass that one.
No.
I should say this. I took 3 COVID tests.
Yeah.
Prior?
Well, I remember because at one point you texted me, you're like, I just took a COVID test and I'm still good. And I was like, oh, that's awesome, man. And then I think like 20 minutes later, you're like, never mind.
Yep. I was like, I just took another COVID test and I'm not good.
And I'm fucked.
Yep. Yeah. So anyway, regardless, I'm the last one. So Brody never got it.
Well, that's good.
My son never got it. And he's feeling great. My daughter, one day.
That's good.
Of not feeling good.
Yeah,
she still
right
was
back.
COVID. She couldn't go back to school or anything, but
she felt better.
until I think they said 5 days from the time that she first started exhibiting symptoms. But she was good. She's got a little bit of a runny nose now, but such is the season, right? With the weather changing. And then my wife is good. She's been up and at 'em and stuff. Me, I've been the one who's been the most miserable.
And you're like, ooh.
But guys are like that.
Yeah, it's the worst. Like, I don't get sick often, but when I do, I'm at death's door, and I'm a real baby about it.
Yep.
I'm sick. Pity me.
But the thing that I experienced with COVID, and I know everybody's experiences are different. Some people are like, I was coughing the entire time, or I was out of breath, and da. I didn't really have a lot of moments of coughing. Yesterday, I was experiencing a little bit of shortness of breath when I would like overexert myself too much. And today, I'm not really experiencing that. So that's good. But and my voice is a little bit raspy.
A little gravelly. Yeah. I can hear it.
A little sexy.
It's pretty sexy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But the one thing that I experienced the most was just exhaustion.
It's really, really tired.
Yeah. Not to mention, I just gotten back from vacation. So when I come back from vacation, I'm exhausted.
You're already
anyway.
tired. Exactly.
So Walt Disney World, highly recommend. However, I will say this. They don't decorate it and do it up like Disneyland does.
Oh, yeah. Like when they get it all
Halloween.
harvesty and like a winter wonderland.
They do decorate for the fall, and they have the Halloween party, but they don't do it like Disneyland does it.
Yeah.
And the Haunted Mansion isn't Nightmare Before Christmas themed at Walt Disney World.
Okay. Interesting.
Which I actually appreciated because that was my first, well, not my first time at Walt Disney World's Haunted Mansion. I went there when I was 9, but that was a billion years ago. And so this was like my first time that I can remember being there. And Disney World's Haunted Mansion, way better than Disneyland's Haunted Mansion.
It's been too long. I honestly can't remember
It's
Disney
way
World's.
better. That being said, coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever
Zero
you want to
Pamela
fucking
Voorhees
call
Heads.
it. Zero Pamela Voorhees Heads.
Would not recommend.
Well, I'll give it half.
Half
It's better
a head.
than Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
Fair
I'd rather
enough.
have COVID-19. I'd
Watch
rather
Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 again.
or that one fucking movie. What was that movie we just did?
Nightmare
With the
Weekend.
ball? Nightmare Weekend.
That fucking thing. That was terrible.
I'd rather have COVID-19 than Nightmare Weekend. We do. Well, I've talked enough. So I'm done talking. I'm done talking, David. No more talking.
No
for
more
me this
talking.
episode.
We've had some technical
I'm done-
difficulties today.
Oh, God. You wouldn't believe. But what about you? What have you been up to?
A whole lot of nothing.
Halloween just passed.
Yeah. I think this was like the most trick-or-treaters we've ever had. We bought like 120 of the full-size candy bars, went through all of them,
Yeah.
then had to go to like my backup bag.
Wow.
It was crazy. Yeah,
That's
it was
a
cool.
lot.
It was a lot of kids.
So I had 120 full-size candy bars as well. Didn't hand out
Yeah.
a single one because I turned off all the lights. We were all sick.
Yeah, you couldn't. You didn't want to give kids the Rona.
No. I'm like, here's a candy bar and COVID-19. Go have
And
fun.
you're sick also.
Go have fun
Bye-bye.
killing people.
That's the trick part. And then also on Halloween, I talked to somebody horror related, so that'll come in a future episode. It doesn't really fit into what we'll be talking about today.
Yeah, no, it doesn't fit into what we'll be talking about today, but stay tuned. Maybe
more to
around
come.
Christmas time.
Perhaps a little Yuletide cheer.
Hint, hint. Today's episode is brought to you by our listener, Shauna. Shauna
Oh, okay.
is a listener of ours from Minnesota. Oh, you betcha.
Oh, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Oh.
Shauna reached out to us, yeah? And she's like, hey, I have a birthday coming up. Would you guys mind reviewing this movie for me for my birthday? And I said, you betcha.
Oh, yeah. I think
Yeah.
I saw like a tweet about her birthday. So
It was
happy
actually-
birthday.
It was actually yesterday. As we record this, it was November 4th. Yesterday. So, but she knew that she was a little late in getting us this request. So she was like, just do it whenever. If you she goes, do it or don't. I don't really care.
So I don't really give a shit.
I'm like, yeah, we'll do it for you. Don't worry about it. So when this comes out, her birthday will have been like 2 weeks prior, but it's her
Close
birthday.
enough.
It's her birthday month.
There you go. I say we're in the orbit.
But she recommended that we do a movie called The Town That Dreaded Sundown from 1976. I had never seen this movie, David. Had you?
Me neither.
It's always a movie that I remember. I remember the cover art.
Exactly.
Remember-
Yeah, same. Very well.
the image of it, but I had never watched it. So I said to her, by all means, we'll record this for you. So why don't we go ahead and get started? We've had enough technical difficulties for one day. If we can just get through this, we can both be on our merry way and fuck off.
Let's do it. I'm so excited. This episode is going to be edited down to be like an hour, but it's going to be like 4 hours with all the fucking bullshit we've had to deal with.
I know. We started talking to each other an hour ago.
At least.
The Town That Dreaded Sundown came out in 1976. December 24th, 1976.
This is a Christmas movie.
It's a holiday movie. What do you think the number one movie was?
Oh.
Yeah. Nope, that's not it.
I'm going to go with a little movie called Rocky.
Dude, I wish. Because you know me. Rockies.
I know you do.
You know me. You do know me.
I do. We've met. We're acquainted.
But every Rocky movie, I love.
I know each other. I dressed as the Beast and gave you COVID a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, you remember. Every Rocky movie I love. Obviously, Rocky 1 is one of the best movies ever made. But Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 4, David, even Rocky 5, I love. Rocky 6. The Creed movies that have come out, and now there's going to be a new Creed movie. There's going to be a third fucking Creed movie.
You so excited?
I am very excited. I
haven't even seen the second Creed movie, but I did like the first one a lot.
The second one's even just as good as the third one, or the first one. So no, that is not the correct answer, but it should be. It should be the correct answer, because the movie that was number one was a little movie starring Chris Christopherson and Barbra Streisand. Do you know what movie this is?
Nope.
It was remade, and it starred Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper.
Oh, okay. A Star is Born?
Yeah, A Star is Born.
Okay.
Have you ever seen the original Star is Born?
Dude, I think the Streisand one is like the second or third one. There's a shit ton of them.
Oh, really?
I think the first one's from like the 40s or the 30s.
Oh, well, have you ever seen the Streisand one?
I haven't seen any of them except for the Lady Gaga one.
Which was
which I really liked.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was great.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe a
future episode we'll do Star is Born on a very special episode of the Swearwolves.
What was the number one song?
I'm going The Boys Are Back in Town by Thin Lizzy.
That song fucking slaps.
It does slap. That's why I picked it.
And
it's got town in the title.
You listen to that song, yeah, right? The boys are back in town that dreaded sundown.
Yep. There's your song. Yeah, that should be like a Halloween version. The boys are back in the town that dreaded sundown.
Yep. Guess who just got back today? Them wild-eyed boys been astray. The drinks are going to flow and the blood's going to spill. Because if the boys want to fight, David, you got to let them.
Yep.
That's a song like you listen to it when you're driving and you're like, yeah, I am fucking back in town. I'm gonna kick some
yeah, give them the finger to the people while you're driving.
Yeah, they're like, excuse me? And you're like, I'm sorry.
I'm listening to Thin Lizzy. They're like, oh, okay, it's cool.
You drive by some like fucking bikers and you're like, fuck off. And they're like, what? And you're like,
it's like Thin Lizzy. They're like, oh, of course. We're
still going to kick your ass, but we understand
like,
why.
I understand.
No.
You guys ever seen A Star is Born? It's great.
An equally as tough song, though. Tonight's the Night, Gonna Be All Right by Rod Stewart.
Tonight's the night.
Gonna be all right. Yeah. Stay away, my window. Stay away.
Fucking Rod Stewart.
He says, stay away from my window, stay away from my back door too. What is Rod talking about here?
Yeah, a little butthole reference.
That was the number one song. Yeah, Rod Stewart, I think in the late 70s, every week was a Rod Stewart number one song.
Yeah, he had hit after hit.
Yeah, Do You Think I'm Sexy, Tonight's the Night, Maggie May, all of them. I think Rod Stewart got a lot of tail back in the day too. I think he was a coxman.
Oh, absolutely. He did. And he was married to what's-her-face for a while.
Rachel Hunter.
Yeah. Wow.
who was a supermodel.
I know.
And what's up with these guys? That fucker guy, that guy from the Rick Ocasek.
Mm-hmm.
He was married.
Yeah, getting really attractive women. When
He was married to
themselves
Paula
look like ghouls.
Provenska, and she was a supermodel. Rachel Hunter, supermodel, and they're marrying these fucking goons.
I was gonna say Rod Stewart's a lot of things. Handsome is not one of them.
But I bet you, dude, chicks dig Stewart. Rod.
Yeah, it's that silky, raspy voice. It's not even silky. It's like
And his
gravel.
first name is Rod. He's got a hot rod. He's got a fucking hog.
Packing heat down there. He's a little guy, but maybe not everywhere.
No. Town That Dreaded Sundown. Written by Earl E. Smith. Directed by Charles B. Pierce. With music by Jaime Mendoza Nava. Produced by Charles B. Pierce and Samuel Z. Arkoff. What is up with everybody using their middle initial?
Using their middle name.
Yeah.
They must have all been in trouble.
By the way, I don't use my middle initial or my middle name often.
Yeah.
Only if I have to, which is rare. But because my initials spell out the word bra. And I was always very self-conscious about that growing up. In fact, these girls, when I was in 6th grade, found out that my initials spelled bra, and they started calling me bra all the time. And they mailed me a brassiere in the mail.
They took that far.
They did. They left the tags on, so my mom just took it back and got money and gave me the money.
Nice.
So fuck them.
I'm going to return these. I don't have the receipt is the thing. That's funny. We've known each other for years. I've never known what your middle initial or name is.
Well, now you know it's R.
Ooh.
The cliffhanger.
Robert.
We'll do a cliffhanger. It's not Big Bob.
Is it Rod?
It's Rod.
Tonight's the night.
It's Brett Rod Anderson. No, I'm not gonna. I'll tell you someday.
Okay.
It's not
my
even
name. My initials spell nothing.
Yeah.
It's just gibberish because it's not a vowel.
No. Yeah. It sucks. It sucks being
It does
bra.
suck.
But like if people are like, if I'm in Hawaii and someone's like, "What's up, bra?" I'm like, "Hey, that's me."
Yeah, there you go. I'm that guy. My first two initials are actually like a sex act, so there's that.
DP.
Yeah.
Double penetration.
You did it.
I figured it out.
Hey.
Town That Dreaded Sundown stars Ben Johnson as Captain J.D. Morales, Andrew Prine as Deputy Norman Ramsey, Dawn Wells as Helen Reed, Jimmy Clem as Sergeant Griffin, and Jim City as Police Chief Sullivan, and Charles B. Pierce, who is the director, producer, and Patrolman A.C. Benson.
Sparkplug.
Sparkplug. Budget for this movie was $400,000. David, what do you think the box office was?
I'm going to go $2 million.
This movie made $5 million in the
not
box
bad.
office. This was a very big success for the Hot Box.
Hot box.
All right, the VHS box for this. Do you know what this looks like?
Yeah, it's got the guy with the hood over his face.
Yeah,
He looks like Jason from Part 2. Well,
yeah,
that's what inspired it.
right. So the title, this is the Warner home video release, which is those like kind of oversized clamshell VHSs. I don't know. Did you ever work at a video store?
Yeah, is it like the ones that like the Disney movies came in?
Kind of. Yeah.
You open it up, you get fucking COVID.
Yeah. If only if
One of
the
those.
beast is in there.
Yeah, you get the Little Mermaid one with all the dicks on it.
Yeah, there's a Little Mermaid dick one. But yes, so there were certain movies back in the early 80s. This was released in 1983, actually. I worked at a video store, if you don't know. I worked at 3 video stores.
This one had the clamshell.
Professional video store employee back in the 90s. But yes, this had a clamshell. There was different releases of it and just depending on the distribution. But also, as the 90s came by and they started redistributing these movies, they got just the slip covers. But I mean, you remember like when CDs first came out and they came in those big long boxes? Yeah. And then after a while, they're like, why the fuck are we doing this? We can just give someone the CD.
Yeah, what's with the big presentation? It's like an anti-theft thing, and then eventually they're like, "Yeah, who gives a shit?"
Yeah. So this is the oversized Warner Home Video box, and it's got that orange border, but it says that the Charles B. Pierce's "The Town That Dreaded Sundown," a true story. And David, you're absolutely correct. It has the creepy pillowcase wearing guy, who's really big in like the sky. And he's looking over the town.
It's really cool artwork.
Presumably the town that dreads sundown.
They don't like the night, the evening, dusk, if you will. They're not fans.
Tonight's not the night.
Everything's not going to be all right. You're all fucked.
On the back of the box, it says, "A true tale of Texarkana terror." In 1946, the joy and relief over the ending of World War II and the happiness over the prosperity that followed was destroyed for the residents of Texarkana by a series of traumatic experiences that many still remember. In the spring of that year, 5 townspeople were brutally murdered and 3 brought to near death by a masked madman who eluded capture by the Texas Rangers and a host of other law enforcement agencies. This true-to-life thriller is a dramatization of those 5 still unsolved murders, which sent local residents into a panic and caused their town to become an armed camp after sundown. Academy Award winner Ben Johnson, who portrayed the dapper Melvin Purvis in Dillinger, stars as Captain J.D. Lone Wolf Morales, an ace sleuth called in by local authorities to apprehend the killer. Comic relief in an otherwise gruesome chain of events is provided by producer-director Charles B. Pierce, who also plays the well-intentioned but bumbling police officer assisting Morales. The Town That Dreaded Sundown is suspense-filled drama at its best, and all the more terrifying because the bizarre events it chronicles are true.
Oh my God.
That's a lot to put on the back of
There's a lot of spoilers in there too. They said the number of people that die. So if you're watching the movie, you can just count. Okay,
number of people that survived.
Yeah, that it wasn't solved. So we also know the killer's going to get away.
Yep.
I also like that they put the director as the guy that's assisting him as the bumbling cop. Like, he's like a secondary character. He's not even the main cop helping him. No, fuck that guy. They didn't even put him on the box.
Secondary. He's like tertiary. And to mention that let's talk about that real quick, because Andrew Prine is probably the second lead.
He's like the main guy. Right. Yeah, him and the Ben Johnson Morales guy.
Yeah. Lone Wolf. Yeah, Ben Johnson's probably the lead, and Andrew Prine is the deputy... Ramsey, who's the second lead, but the third build is Dawn Wells, Marianne from Gilligan's Island.
From Gilligan's Island. She's got a pretty small part. She's in one scene.
2. She's in 2 scenes.
That's true. Yeah.
She gets introduced in one, and she gets attacked in another one.
Yeah, they had to get her on the box though, to draw people in though. It's like, this movie's got Marianne in it.
Yeah,
kinda.
People that are like Gilligan's
big Gilligan
Island
fans.
Yeah, they're like, what do you want to
fucking dress as the skipper going to see The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
This character of J.D. Morales is based on this other guy, this real true to life. A lot of this stuff is based on true to life people that actually did this. So the Captain Morales, the Lone Wolf, that wasn't his real name, but that was his nickname.
Lone Wolf?
Yeah. Which, don't they call him that?
Why not just give him
his real name? Probably because they didn't have the rights to it.
Yeah, I guess so.
But
maybe the real Lone Wolf looked at the script and, oh, no. You're going to have to make some changes. And then
I caught him.
They're like, no, you Charles didn't. Pierce was like, no. I caught him. No.
Yes,
well, you're going to wrote that I caught him. And I noticed there's no mention about how large my penis is in the script. Make sure to work that in as well.
And I banged Marianne.
Yeah.
Like,
show it. And make sure to include that scene and show everything. Full penetration.
What? Listen, Lone Wolf, you need to calm down. Listen, you guys want to be factually accurate. They weren't really factually accurate in this movie, though. And
I heard this movie took a lot of liberties.
It did. And one of the liberties that happened that they took was quite humorous, I found. And we'll get to this in the movie, but the date shows up and it says Saturday, March 24th. But March 24th in 1946 was a Sunday. It's like, why change the day of the week?
Yeah, or why even put it to begin with?
It's not even that difficult to go, March 24th. What day of the week was that?
Yeah, let's get a calendar.
So
look here.
I thought that was quite funny that they did that.
That is funny. Whoopsie.
All right, let's talk about the plot. I don't think they really cared, to be honest with you. Let's talk about the plot. So this is based on a true story.
Right.
And there was this person in 1946 who wore a mask and murdered 5 people and attempted to kill another 3, and they got away. This is very...
I didn't know anything about the story. So I was actually surprised when it started and it was set in the 40s. I was like, oh, cool. Because at first I thought it was going to be like a flashback and then it was going to jump or something. But I was like, oh, cool. This movie's set in like right after World War II. Neat.
Yeah, likewise. I thought it was kind of interesting that... I guess the interesting thing to me is, and I don't know why this fascinates me, but that there was serial killers in 1946.
Yeah, and wearing masks and shit.
Yeah, they weren't like, see, we're going to fill you full of lead.
Yeah.
That was like the 20s.
Now you listen here. Their pants pulled all the way up to their chest.
Yeah. That was the 20s, I guess, but still, in the 1940s, I guess I don't think of there being serial killers, but like one of the most famous serial killers of all time was Jack the Ripper, and that was like in the fucking 1800s,
like turn of the century. Yeah,
I don't even know when. But when I think of serial killers, you think of like the Zodiac.
Yeah, I think of more modern,
right? Which I'm telling you right now, when I first was watching this, I'm like, did they just like take aspects of Zodiac? Do this, but no, this stuff happened.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So maybe Zodiac like read about the Texarkana killings and was like, I got an idea.
This gives me an idea.
Because a lot of the killings, well, we'll get into the plot here right now, but a lot of the killings were like Lover's Lane type stuff, and that's what Zodiac was famous for.
This movie reminded me a lot of Zodiac.
Yeah. The movie's narrated,
which I thought was a very odd choice.
It's presented almost as like not a documentary. This movie is very like made for TV.
Dude, agreed 100%. That's what I was going to say. Like it's set up like a TV movie.
Yeah.
And at times, many times it feels like a TV movie.
Do you remember when we were talking about the Thing TV cut? And you were telling me...
McCready, helicopter pilot, blah, 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 blah. Dr. Copper.
That's what this movie gave me vibes of, because they're like,
it was kind of
Texarkana, like the people here are very upset because people keep dying. Saturday, March 24th. It actually was Sunday, but we're going to say it's Saturday, March 24th.
We misplaced our calendar.
It's an alternate universe. It's the Mandela effect. Saturday, March 24th happened in this universe. So yeah, that's what happens at the beginning. Like there's this like kind of voiceover narration.
Yeah, the narration kind of comes and goes throughout the movie.
It does at weird times. And it kind of just fills in the gaps, I guess. Maybe they're just like, fuck it, dude. I don't want to give all this exposition.
Without spoiling my rating, I often find narration that's like this. I don't mind narration per se, but when it's done in the way it's done in this movie, it's lazy.
Yeah, it is. Lazy filmmaking, lazy writing.
Yeah.
So about 8 months after the end of World War II, you got a bunch of soldiers coming home, and they're meeting up with girls and, finding love and getting married and starting that nuclear family that the 50s and late 40s were all about.
Chasing that American dream.
Yep. So March 3rd, there's this guy, Sammy Fuller, and his girl, Linda Mae Jenkins, and they park on Lover's Lane. Now,
Yes.
are we gonna go the same place?
This guy's 100 years old.
All right, he's 29.
My ass, he's 29.
And how old is Linda May?
She's supposed to be, I think, 19.
17, David.
Oh,
He's
gross.
He's 29 and she's 17.
He looked a lot older than her, and he looked older than that.
And they make it known that she quit school so she could start working and so help support her family. I don't know why we need all those fucking details.
Yeah, who cares?
But we do know that Sammy got back from the war recently, and he's
very horny.
He's very horny, and
he's very old. The war aged him 30 years.
Apparently, the only women that will give him the time of day are still fucking
underage
children,
just minors.
But he's taking her out, and he's like gonna go parking with her, and so they go parking, and she doesn't want to fuck him.
Nope.
So he just
puts
lays
his head in her lap.
At first,
I'm gonna go memes.
At first, I thought he was going down on her.
I did too, and I was like, "Oh wow!" But no, he just didn't. Maybe she thought that too. She's like, "All right, oh, you're not gonna do anything down there."
Yeah, maybe that's why she got pissed.
Yeah, like, ugh, your head is heavy and old.
Your head is heavy and old, just like your fucking dick. Mm-hmm. Well, not heavy. You small.
It's very, very light.
He's like, hey.
But their worries are going to be over very quickly.
Yeah, there's this. She hears a noise, and she's like, "Hey, dude, there's a noise." And he's like, "The only noise is me not getting my dick sucked, huh? Am I right?
Am I right? Am I right, fellas?" Like, she's like, "There's no one here."
PTSD. She's like, whatever. So he sits up, and when he sits up and he goes to like I don't know, turn the lights on or some shit like that, all of a sudden the hood of the car pops open.
Yeah,
and
like, oh,
and then it slams shut, and this hooded figure, this Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th Part 2, has like a bunch of cables in his hand.
Yeah, he pulled off the distributor cap, I think is what he did.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. And all the wires are just hanging there. So he's trying to start the car. It's like, yeah, your car won't start without that, pal.
Yeah. He doesn't know.
No.
And then the guy like breaks the window of the car.
Yeah, and he grabs the old man, and, like drags his old ass out of the car.
And this dude puts up zero fight. I'm not saying that I would. I'd be a pussy also. But this guy, like, come on, dude. This is why you're not getting laid.
No, it's like a gazelle getting chased down by like a cheetah or something.
Yeah,
just lays down and accepts its fate.
Yep.
Go and eat me.
Maybe if I pretend to be dead, but maybe
he's like a T-Rex and his vision's based on movement. I'm just gonna stand perfectly still.
And this is why this chick doesn't fuck him.
Yeah.
Also, she's 17. Like, let's give her a couple of years to mature. Yeah, exactly. She shouldn't fuck him. I'm not condoning this. Yeah. But this guy
old Baghead, he like clobbers him over the head, I think.
Maybe that's why. Maybe Baghead was like, you know what? This fucking pervert, I'm gonna fucking kill this guy. Maybe did anybody ever think about that? Yeah. Like that there's a bunch of old fucking perverts.
Vigilante justice?
Yeah, a bunch of old perverts dating a bunch of 15-year-old girls.
He was actually like a masked superhero.
The guy gets into the car. Wait, he's not really a superhero because he gets into the car with
No, he's
Linda.
into terrible things.
They said that he doesn't rape her. I believe that's what they said in the movie, but he does other things.
Yeah.
And I don't know what those other things are, but they're not good.
No.
She's alive though. And
yeah, he like bludgeons her off screen.
Yeah. But she goes crawling to the street, and in the morning, a car pulls up. This car that pulls up is like, oh, it's like it swerves all over and slams its brakes. It's like a body.
There's a lot of shitty driving in this movie.
Tons. I don't know if it was just because it was the 40s and their cars sucked, but
I don't know.
And those cars are small. Two dudes sitting in the front seat together. I mean, they better like each other, is all I'm saying.
Exactly.
So they find her, and at the crime scene, this Deputy Ramsey, who's our second. By the way, that guy, that actor, David, you told me, he just died.
Yeah, like a few days ago.
Yeah,
like he died on Halloween.
Wow, that's
Crazy.
kind of a weird coincidence.
Yeah, eerie, even
eerie, some might say. And actually, both the victims.
Yeah, they find out both of them survived. Yeah. They're both in bad shape, and we find out that the girl was bitten a lot, like on her back and on her breasts.
That's weird.
That's gross.
Yeah, she wasn't raped, but her stomach, her breasts, and her back were heavily bitten. Literally chewed is what they say. Like,
that's gross.
Gnawed on. And they got to warn these teens and these college students.
Yeah, because the cops think that the killer's going to strike again, so they try to basically clear all of the teenagers out of like the lovers' lanes area. Like, yeah, stay clear of those. Don't go there. It's not safe.
Yep. 3 weeks later, March 24th.
Saturday. It was a Saturday. I remember specifically.
3 weeks later, this Ramsey guy, he's out driving around in the rain.
He's out driving like this. Like, everyone in this movie drives with like that herky-jerky like driving wheel or the steering wheel style. Like, no one drives like that. How come that's a thing in movies? Like,
it's sitcoms too. I remember
driving down the street.
Growing up, watching sitcoms, they'd be driving a car and they'd be like this. Like,
yeah, fucking wacky shacking down the street.
Yeah, no one who's watching this can understand. But imagine me like with two udders in my hands.
Yeah, like you're milking an invisible cow. Yeah, people drive like that.
I thought like that's how you drive.
Like, if TV's taught me anything,
to drive like I'm milking.
You pull on the wheel very aggressively, and the wheel never stops moving while you're driving.
When I was in driver's ed, and the teacher was like, "All right, you got to put your hands at 10 and 2," I'm like, "Listen, Miss Olstead," that was her name, by the way.
Calm down.
I was like, "Miss Olstead, I got this. It's like milking imaginary cows. Am I right, guys? Let's do this.
Let's fucking drive like this."
Oh, fuck. It was Miss Olstead. But, that was the name of my driver's ed teacher, Cynthia Olstead. She's probably dead.
I never took driver's ed, but I did take like a driving school thing, like outside, that like my parents signed me up for. Yeah, all I remember is that the guy, my guy's name was Freddie.
Hey, this is Freddie.
And like he had me pull over, like felt like every 15 minutes so that he could have a cigarette. And then I also remember like he would like when we were driving down like streets and stuff, he'd be like, "Oh, like let's go over by this house," and like he would like check out like girls.
Oh,
like he'd be like, "Oh," and he'd be like, "Look at that." And I was like,
Freddie,
Mr. Freddie, can we get back to my driver's lessons, please?
I'm gonna put a bag on my head and kill you for being a pervert
if you don't teach me how to parallel park.
Arizona doesn't have driver's ed in high school, though, right? It's not a class.
I don't think so. At least I didn't have it.
Yeah, I don't think they do either. Because when I moved to Arizona, I remember talking to my friends about it. Who didn't have their driver's license. And I was like, oh, they don't have that as a class. And they're like, what are you talking about? In Wisconsin, it was a class you took in high school.
Yeah. Yeah. So didn't have that.
I don't know. Maybe they just wanted everybody to have their driver's license in Wisconsin. Maybe they feel like it's important to learn how to drive in Wisconsin, unlike Arizona, where they're just like,
important.
Fuck it. We're all shitty drivers down here anyway.
Yeah, we just drive like we're from Texarkana and we just jerk the wheel back and forth. Milk that cow.
Milk that cow. Or jerking off a fucking giraffe
two
or
dicks.
something.
Yeah, two of them. Same time.
All right, what happens next?
Ramsey's driving and he hears gunshots while he's driving. He's like, oh shit. So he pulls over, he finds a car that's like either abandoned or empty. At first he thinks somebody's in it. He's like, get out of the car, motherfucker. But there's nobody. He doesn't say that. But nobody's in the car. And then while he's like inspecting, he hears more gunshots. Mm-hmm. So he gets on the walkie-talkie and he's like, hey, we got like shots from like a mile north of here. Like, he's got good hearing.
He's good.
Yeah, so he goes like trudging through the rain in the woods and he fucking stumbles onto Baghead right as like he's running to his getaway car.
Well, he finds a dead body of a guy in a ditch.
Oh, yeah. What was with that guy's face? Did you notice that the guy's face looked like it was painted like blue or brown or something. It was weird.
I don't know. This is the one where this is the guy who the girl was tied up, right? And
Yeah.
And around the tree.
You're right. Yeah, and there's a girl like she's tied to the tree, and he can see like her back is all cut up, and she's been shot in the back.
Yeah, and
they're both very clearly dead.
Yep, dead.
Yeah, and then he sees the killer.
Yep, and the killer
as he's like getting up to him, he like the killer gets in the car and drives away.
Yeah, I don't know. Did he see the killer?
Yeah, I think so.
He saw his bag head.
I think so. Well, he definitely saw him drive away because remember he's got a shotgun or whatever, and he's like getting ready to shoot at him, but he was too far away.
That's right.
I think the narrator is like, and he was just too far away to squeeze off that double barrel shotgun.
But he did squeeze off a deuce.
And then he jerked off 2 giraffes.
They got to call in the lone wolf. Call in the wolf. And to help them with this situation that they
because the town's panicking. Because we also find out within 24 hours, like all the guns in the town are all sold out. Like extra locks for doors are selling out. People are losing their minds.
Not only are they panicking, David, they're dreading sundown.
Yeah, I think the narrator even says that. It's like, it was the town that dreaded sundown. This is where the lone wolf comes in. You gotta call in.
And it's not the last time that they'll dread sundown and they'll start boarding up the windows because it's like the townspeople didn't go out after sundown. Da 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 da. And then later on, they're like, and the townspeople were afraid to walk in front of their windows. And the townspeople of Texarkana never were the same.
He's like, these chicken shit people in Texarkana afraid of everything.
A little mass killer? Who cares? Yeah, so they call in the lone wolf, and the lone wolf is like the #1 Texas Ranger.
Most famous Texas Ranger not named Walker, basically.
Pretty much. This is before Chuck Norris was even on the scene. And this guy apparently helped catch some other prolific murderer.
He's real good at what he does.
Nah. Is he?
No.
They set him up. They set
Ramsey guy.
Yeah, they set him up to be the best, like, Texas Ranger. Like, this guy's going to do everything. And then he fucking fails. He fails his mission. The one thing that this guy's job was, he doesn't succeed at.
Nope. They got to rip off his badge.
They should.
He's not fit.
So Ramsey and Morales, the lone wolf, they kind of partner up.
Yeah. The police chief like assigns Ramsey to help him, and then he also assigns him a driver, which I also thought was kind of weird. It's like, this guy can't drive his own car, or Ramsey can't drive it.
No, they set this up so this fucking Charles B.
So the director's got a part in the movie.
Yeah, Charles B. Pierce. He's like, oh, I'm a funny guy. I took an improv class once. I can do this, and he's like fucking this idiot. He's a fucking idiot,
because he gets assigned to drive, and we immediately get. Tell me how you feel about it. Like a comic relief scene that it felt so out of place.
Not only does it feel out of place, David, it happens a couple of times, and then the score changes.
Yes, and it's like this bumbly, like kind of Dixie music or something.
It's like Laurel. It's like a Laurel and Hardy movie all of a sudden, and there's no reason for it.
Yeah, it's like a scene of him trying to find his keys so he can drive him around. He's like, oh, checking around and emptying out the drawer of his desk and everything.
And then the chief comes over.
You dumbass! The keys are on the hook.
Yeah, and they give him that look like it's a sitcom. Like they're like, oh,
Benson, what are you doing?
It's ridiculous. There's that scene.
You should have looked at the camera and it just zoomed in on his face.
Yeah, and they're all wah wah. That's life. We'll be back right after these messages. But there's that scene where he's finding the keys. There's another scene where lone wolf. This is jumping ahead a little bit, but the lone wolf gets this bright idea that he's going to have cops dress up as women. And
Go out because they're trying to like lure him like at Lover's Lane type places. They have cops staked out there.
Yeah. So this doofus dresses up like a woman, and he gets groped by a fucking another officer who pops his.
He's kind of playing along and putting his arm around him.
Yeah, he wants to fuck him. This other cop wants to fucking
He absolutely does. All right. Now, I will admit, I actually thought that scene was funny. Like, I laughed a little bit.
Regardless of it being funny, it's out of place.
Yes.
Like, it's funny if it was a Don Knotts and Tim Conway movie. Like, if this was the Apple Dumpling Gang Strikes Again, then that scene is perfectly fine.
Yeah, and going back, like, earlier we had mentioned Zodiac. That movie, I think, is a really good example of, like, a police procedural kind of movie, a thriller that has some funny parts in it, like some comic relief. But I agree, the comic relief in this movie mostly felt out of place because it was too much.
Yeah. So there's that. There's when he dresses up. It's like when Bugs Bunny dresses up like a woman and Elmer Fudd like wants to fuck him.
Woo! Bang that rabbit.
I'm gonna bang me a wabbit.
Oh. Hold still.
My boner is so hard.
My boner.
I got such a hard boner right now. I'm gonna fuck a wabbit. It's gonna be wascally, but I'm gonna fuck him. That's why Elmer Fudd's after Bugs Bunny, because he just wants to
plow him.
Fuck that wabbit.
No woman will have him.
Literally fuck that wabbit. And then there's another scene where the guy drives them into a swamp.
Yep. And that's the part where Lone Wolf finally gets out. He's like, all right, I'm done with this guy. You're not driving me anywhere.
No. And he even has a scene where he gets in the car and the driver gets into the car, this fucking doofus, and he's like, oh, no, you don't. And he has like an overreaction, like,
yeah, because he's driving like crazy, and the guy's like, whoa, hold up.
By the way, the guy who plays as Lone Wolf, I guess he's Academy Award winner acting. But what I remember him for is he was the guy. Do you remember the 1984 movie Red Dawn?
Barely. He's in that movie.
One of my all-time favorite movies. Red Dawn, and he's in that movie. Yeah.
The Town That Dreaded Dawn.
Town That Dreaded Dawn. Yeah, he was like, I got Sundown, I got Dawn. Can I be in a movie?
I needed some sort of day movie.
Yeah. All right, so
the Morales guy, he and Ramsey, I can't remember which one like pitches it.
Ramsey.
But they have this theory that the killer strikes every 21 days because it was 21 days between the first killing or the first attack and the second killing, to which I was like,
no pattern has been set yet.
This is literally like the very next murder. It was 21 days later. It's like, oh, he appears to be doing it every 21 days. Like, what? Did you think that too? It's like,
of course I thought that because it's fucking ridiculous.
It's not a pattern. It's it's not even a coincidence. It's just that's just the number of days that passed.
Yeah,
it could have been.
It could have been 3 days. It could have been. Yeah. It could have been like any time. It was
10 years later. It's like he does this every 10 years, every decade.
Yeah, it's like every day at noon I take a shit because I took a shit at noon today.
Yeah,
it's like every one day.
And then later on they're like, oh, because like spoiler, the pattern gets broken. Like, oh, he's breaking his pattern. Like, there's no pattern. He just does it every few weeks ish.
But what does happen is the Phantom. They call him the Phantom Killer. They're not calling him Baghead. Which they should.
They call him the pillowcase murderer with the tiny penis. He's like, can we please get a different name?
Well, that's what they should do. They should put it in the newspaper as like, this is what happened. And what we know about the guy is he has a very tiny fucking dick.
We are on the lookout for the needle-dicked killer.
Because I'll tell you one thing. No guy, serial killer or not, wants to be known as needle dick. And
like, uh-oh.
If that's the case, he's going to be like, I'm breaking this pattern. I'm going to go out and show everybody my dick right now. And they'll catch him.
Or just stop.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I better be good from here on out.
Yep.
I'm talking about my tiny penis.
I'm telling you right now, they would have caught, if the fucking Lone Wolf would have listened to me, they would have caught. There would be no movie. There'd be no fucking movie. So yeah, this is when they're going to go and set up the cops dressed up as women, and they park them in different lovers' lanes. I don't know how many lovers' lanes there are in Texarkana, but apparently there's a lot.
A lot of them.
No TV back then. Maybe that's what people were doing. They were like,
just drive around and bang in the woods.
Yeah, we don't have a DVR. We don't have the internet.
We just have sex in our cars.
Yeah, some of us do. Some of us
different
don't.
Times, you know?
Yeah. There's also prom going on around this time.
Oh, yeah.
And we got the trombone player, Peggy Loomis. Her name is Peggy Loomis.
Ooh, that's crazy. My God.
She's the grandmother to Billy Loomis.
And just tooting on that horn.
Not many people know this, but Peggy Loomis was Billy Loomis's grandmother.
Billy Loomis's grandma.
And Dr. Loomis's sister.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Fun facts. Just the facts.
Hold on. It's playing right now. Yes, those are the facts of this that people don't know. But anyway, she's a trombone player at the local high school, and her she's playing in the band, the big band that's playing at prom.
Yep.
The trombonist is fucking whooping it up. Her boyfriend and her, they decide they're gonna go fuck after prom, right? I mean,
Lover's Lane, yeah. Because he's like, hey, let's go out, let's go park for a little bit. And she's like, it's probably not a good idea with, what with the killing and all that's been going on. And he's like, nah. I know a special place. And he's like, didn't he say something like, well, the other things, they happen down in this area. We're going to go to this completely other area. And she's like, well, when you put it that way,
which goes to prove a fact that we all know is that guys, when they're horny, they don't care if there's a chance of getting death. It's like, all right, let's see. Everybody's died that's gone here, but I have a chance to get off.
I could get laid. I like the odds.
I'm going to risk it for the biscuit. Has it been 21 days? I think they're wrong about this pattern. But they go out there, and all of a sudden, the Phantom, okay, they're out there. I think they did fuck, and they fall asleep. And when they wake up, Peggy's like, I gotta go home. It's like 2:00 in the morning. I was supposed to be home.
Oh shit!
And so he's driving her home, and all of a sudden, the Phantom is hanging on the door.
Yeah, he was real late getting to the car because they're already driving.
Yeah, he's like, "Whoa, wait for me! Wait for me!" He's hanging on, and this fucking Roy. No, she's Loomis. Roy, her boyfriend. He's driving. He's like, oh, God. It's like, dude, you could knock this guy. How strong is this guy?
Just start milking, drive like you're milking a cow, my friend. Shake this guy off.
Drive into a tree or something, you know?
Do you know the double giraffe technique of driving? That's what you do. Yeah, or drive into a tree. Yeah. But he doesn't. That guy pulls him right out of the window.
Oh my gosh, he loves pulling people out of the windows.
Loves it, and he loves beating him over the head with shit.
Yep, so he pulls Roy out the car, and he starts beating him up. Meanwhile, the car keeps going, and Billy Loomis's grandma crashes into a tree.
She takes the wheel, but she sucks.
She's like, I'm sorry, I just barely got my license.
They don't have driver's ed at my school.
It was taught by Freddie.
Freddie, stop checking out my ass. Yeah, she crashes into a tree.
I'm a trombone player. She crashes into a tree.
Speaking of trombone.
Well, so she gets out, and the killer catches her and ties her to a tree. Right about this time, the killer's working on her and doing his business. Roy wakes up, and Peggy says,
and he starts crawling.
Run, Roy.
Yeah, I'd be like, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to get away. Stop drawing attention to me.
Run, Roy. So the killer's
Roy.
Roy? Oh.
Roy, over there. Roy, now you're over there.
Yeah, Roy. Go south. No, you're headed north. So the killer goes and grabs Roy and kills him, shoots him.
Yep, shoots him. Oh, that was sad.
And goes back to, not as sad as what's going to happen to Peggy. Poor Peggy, the killer takes her trombone and fastens a knife to the end of it.
Yeah.
And then starts playing it and goes, boom. And every time he goes out with the trombone, he stabs her. What kind of weirdo does that?
I know, and he wasn't even playing it well. I mean, he knows he doesn't play trombone, but it was like. You remind me of that Lonely Island song, Sax Man? Play it, Sax Man. But he just doesn't do anything.
I don't know that.
Play something.
I don't know that song, but
You have to listen to it. It's delightful.
So Peggy is dead.
Yeah, that was a sad scene.
Yeah. Preventing her from being Billy Loomis's grandmother because she didn't have any kids. But
unless, yeah.
In theory.
She could have had a kid.
She could have had a kid.
In secret.
Yeah. That her mom was raising for her.
Yes, her sister.
Yeah.
So then we get like a dinner scene of what's his name, Morales, Lone Wolf, and Ramsey. They have a meeting with the psychiatrist, and he's like telling them
profiling.
He's profiling the killer, and he's like, he's probably between 35 and 40 years old, and
I don't think
very intelligent.
I don't think profiling existed in 1946.
Apparently, it did. I don't know.
I don't think it did because I think the guy who invented profiling, like, wasn't that one guy?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think the scene was probably just tacked on, but he says like he's got a strong sex drive, probably packing heat,
like a big old dick.
Well, he should have said that he's got a tiny needle dick because we find out that old Baghead's at the restaurant.
Yeah, and he goes and pays his check because we see his feet, and he's like, I
want to know, was he wearing the bag? And what did he eat? I want to know what he ordered.
I'm pretty sure Baghead was Sparkplug.
It was him the whole time.
Yep.
It'd be awesome if he had the bag on his head in a little bib with a lobster on it.
And he just has
enjoying his dinner. He's like, I do have a big dick. Thank you.
He's drawn on smile. So,
You got to lift the bag up just so his mouth's exposed so he can eat.
Like, if only we could find him. If only we had a clue. Meanwhile, Baghead's sitting right next to him the entire time. And they're like, Right.
So then, like, the next day, a guy comes to the police station and he's like, hey, last night this crazy ass motherfucker like stuck a gun on my face and like made me drive him to, what town was it?
I don't know where it was.
Like, made him drive him somewhere and then took his wallet and like looked at his ID and he's like, all right, Mr. Johnson, I now know where you live, so don't go telling the police about me or I'll kill you. And I've already killed 4 people.
Isn't that what happens with the Zodiac, though? Doesn't the Zodiac steal someone's wallet and look at it like a woman? And he's like, I know where you live.
So.
Dude, I'm telling you, the Zodiac story, there's
something like that.
Story very similar.
There's that disturbing scene with the baby.
Yes.
But, like, that lady ends up getting away.
She does. And so does this guy.
Yeah.
That's why I thought, like, I don't know, man. There was something. I had heard this scenario before where someone gives their ID and they're like, I know where you live. And I'll kill you if you tell anybody. Well, this guy does like, I don't give a fuck. I need that $1 because I don't have any gas. He was very concerned about getting that $1 for gas.
Yeah, because they end up finding the guy, the cops, and like they immediately bring the Mr. Johnson onto the scene.
Yeah,
and he's like, "That's the guy. That's the guy. Give me my $1."
He goes, "Give me my $1, motherfucker."
Give it here, you son of a bitch.
That guy
it's
confesses.
The one with the mustache drawn on the president. It's that one.
that guy confesses to being the Phantom. But Lone Wolf's like,
it was me. I did it.
Yeah, get the press out here to...
Yeah, Morales is immediately like, no, this isn't the guy.
Yeah. He's so cocksure of himself. How do you know that's not the guy?
That's what I thought. I was like, why would you immediately be like, no, this isn't the guy.
Set him free. Let him go.
He's not. This guy doesn't have a bag on his head. Yeah. That ain't him.
Don't we know that the guy has
Police
a bag?
101. Yeah.
Now we are.
He's like, this guy doesn't have a bag for a head. That's what we're looking for, right?
Right. Do you know how to play the trombone, sir? No.
He produces a trombone. He's like, here,
play this.
Play me some John Philip Sousa, please. And he's like, I can't. He's like, yeah, that ain't the guy.
Marianne from Gilligan's Island. She's out getting groceries. And she goes to get in her car and she sees some guy in the car next to her kind of like giving her the eye. And she's all, ooh, hey. She kind of like...
It's like, ooh, Gilligan's Island fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she gets in her car. Meanwhile, she's married. So she was flirting with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
But if you see her husband, you know why she was flirting with this guy. Her husband's a fucking dork.
Yeah,
My wife came into the room while I was watching it at this time, and she goes, "We're expected to believe that woman is married to that guy?"
Yeah, no way.
I'm like, it's Texarkana. The guys are probably all goons, and the women are probably all beautiful. So,
her options were limited.
Single men out there, move to Texarkana. You'll be getting some hot women. But yeah, so her name's Helen, and the Phantom follows her home, and he proceeds to shoot her goon of a husband in the head
from outside the house, like while he's watching TV. Just shoots right through the window.
Not TV. Listening to the radio, David.
They didn't have doing
TV.
It was 1946.
Yeah, they don't have TV.
They weren't rich.
What are they watching?
Yeah, listen to the radio or whatever. But yeah, shoots him right in the head.
The guy, excuse me, the husband like lives long enough to like kind of crawl. He's like, oh, but I'm assuming he got shot with a .22. And the reason why is because Marianne will get... Gilligan's already been shot. Marianne...
He's already dead.
Marianne is going to get shot as well because the Phantom comes in. He breaks the screen door like a fucking...
Yeah, like while she's calling the cops.
Like the Kool-Aid man comes into their house and...
Bustin', oh yeah!
And he shoots her twice in the head. She lives... And she goes crawling through a cornfield. So I'm guessing it's a .22 because I've heard stories about people getting shot with .22s.
Yeah.
And just like rattling around in their brain and like coming out and not really doing much. I mean, yes, you could die. You probably will die. Don't shoot yourself with a .22.
Don't do it.
Don't do it, kids.
And for God's sake, don't do it twice. If you're going to do it, one and done.
Don't do it at all.
Don't. But if you're going to do it.
Don't do it. Just kidding. No. But I've heard stories about people getting shot with .22s and it's just like fucking them up a little bit, but they don't die.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, she crawls into the cornfield.
Yep.
And he grabs a pickaxe and is like looking for her.
Jason Voorhees moment here.
This is a pretty cool scene.
Yeah, it reminds
she's crawling. We can see him kind of in the background and he's looking around.
It reminds me of the end of Friday 13th Part 2. When Ginny is on the run and Jason's after her and he's got like a fucking, I don't know if he's got a pickaxe or what he's got, but he's chasing after her.
He's even got throughout the movie, he's got the deep breathing.
Yeah.
Very Kane Hodder. I mean, I know Kane Hodder's not in Part 2, but like very similar. And like when he's breathing, you can see the pillowcase like adhering to his mouth. And
it kind of goes back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing's dirty. That's got to be gross.
Yeah.
He's like sucking that thing into his mouth.
Yep. I wonder if he uses that pillowcase as a pillowcase and then takes it off.
He takes it home and he puts it on his pillow.
Yeah. Like, she gets to the neighbor's house. The neighbor's dog is like barking up a storm. So the neighbor comes out, some old man. He comes out with a shotgun.
Comes out with a gun. Pretty smart guy.
Yeah. And he sees her half dead. And
he's like, oh shit, honey. Call an ambulance.
Yep, and the killer sees this and he's all pissed off. He's like breathing even heavier because he's so pissed off. He's like, I can't fucking kill.
Yeah, it's been 21 days
and I haven't killed.
I'm jonesing.
He leaves.
Yeah, he's like, fuck it. You win some, you lose some.
Yep. There's a voiceover. This is where the voiceover happens, and the narrator's like, the town that dreaded sundown, Texarkana, now did dreaded walking in front of their windows. And you see people like boarding up their windows. And people wouldn't walk in front of their windows then for the rest of eternity.
You just duck, crawl on the floor past the window, and then stand up again.
Houses in Texarkana aren't built with windows anymore.
Nope. They're all boxes now.
Yeah.
And that's why.
Everybody's got rickets because they can't get the sun.
Yes. Everyone's very pale.
They dread the sun. They dread the sundown. They dread everything.
Yeah, it's a big shit show.
Lone Wolf and Ramsey are riding around one day, and Ramsey says to Lone Wolf, he goes, you think we'll ever catch this guy? And Lone Wolf's like, we'd have to be really fucking lucky. Right at that moment.
Yeah, he's like, you want the truth? And he's like, yeah. He's like, nope. What's on the radio?
And then they get a phone call or a radio saying that there's a stolen car that they found. And Ramsey's like, that's the same stolen car that I saw the killer take.
Yeah, because they like described the make and model and year and everything. He's like, yeah, that's the one I saw that day.
6 months ago. So they go out and they find the car, and they're like, the killer's got to be around here somewhere. And so this is a scene in the movie that I was kind of like, this is ridiculous, okay? Because it kind of goes back to your whole thing of like, was the killer wearing the bag head when he was at the the restaurant?
Yes.
Because
he shouldn't have had that mask on.
Why did the killer have the mask on when he's just like enjoying the nice autumn
the beautiful
breeze?
day in broad daylight?
Yeah.
He's like watching the sunset or something, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because the killer doesn't even see them. He's just like admiring the day or whatever. He's like,
Yeah.
what a beautiful gift this world is. You know?
And then Lone Wolf just takes a shot at him, misses. This is the number 1 Texas Ranger?
Yeah, my ass.
Can't solve a fucking murder, can't hit the fucking broadside of a barn.
He got a clean shot. Like, it wasn't like he was obscured or anything. He was just sitting on like the edge of like a cliff or something. And
the guy could only
totally
go
misses.
one way too. Sneak up behind him. He can't jump off the cliff. If he does, he's dead. And then you win.
Problem solved.
Well, he misses, and of course Baghead gets away.
Yep. So we got a little chase scene.
They never find him.
Dude, during this chase, because like there's a train that goes by, and he's hiding, the Baghead guy's hiding behind the train, and they're like, Ramsey and Morales are like shooting at him like under the train tracks and like through the empty cars and stuff. Did you notice when the train goes by, there is an entire cameraman like in one of the shots, like his entire body and the camera like on the train that was taking like action shots.
No, I didn't notice that, but
it was wonderful.
What I did notice was that they shoot him and he like gets hit.
Yeah, they shoot him in the leg, I think.
And he's like, ooh, and he falls. But then when the train finally passes, they go and he's gone.
Yeah.
Right. So
and they call in bloodhounds and stuff, but they can't catch him because all of the smells of
scent.
Texarkana.
Yeah. The scent gets, I don't know, whatever. But they don't ever find him. And then years later, there's a movie made called The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
I thought this was weird.
It's meta. It's premiering.
Yeah.
In Texarkana.
1976 meta.
Yeah. In Texarkana, it's premiering at the local movie theater, and we see the feet of the killer as he buys a ticket to go watch himself, presumably.
I guess so. Now, was he wearing the bag? Just kidding.
That's the end of the
movie. End, right?
That's it.
Yep.
This movie was boring as shit, David. This movie was super fucking boring. This movie was, like I said, might as well have been a made-for-TV movie.
It felt very, I mean, aside from some of like the blood and stuff, it felt, in a couple of bad words,
yeah,
it felt very TV movie. Because there's no nudity and, like I said, hardly any profanity.
And there's the bumbling cop subplot, which is stupid.
It's ridiculous.
I understand that they're trying to make it like a little maybe more interesting for people, but that's not the way to do it. You know what?
No, and I love humor in horror movies, but this one just did it wrong.
Totally wrong. You know what movie does it right, David? And you talked about it earlier, and I wrote it in my notes under my review. If you want to watch a movie about a serial killer that they never catch, watch Zodiac by David Fincher.
Zodiac's fucking awesome. Dude, I'm convinced that Fincher must have watched this movie and was like, I could do this way better. And then he proceeded to do just that.
And about a way more interesting killer, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to disparage the 5 people that died in 1946 at the hands of this fucking shit dick, because that, of course, I mean, I guarantee you that town was like dreading sundown in real life, because they were like, this is fucking, I mean, if that happened in your town, in your small town, you'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Even in big towns. I remember in Phoenix a few years back in the East Valley, there was the baseline killer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a big thing. People were afraid to go out.
Yeah, and then there was the guy who was shooting people, snipering people on
the parking lot sniper guy. That, like, put the hole in the trunk of the car.
Yeah, there was that going on, and that was
the Beltway guy, right?
Yeah,
Beltway sniper.
That was like a big city. A fucking major metropolitan area was fearful. People would not drive down Baseline Road. Women would not walk at night on Baseline for fear of this fucking Baseline killer.
That's crazy. I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah. They caught that fucker, I think. Right?
Yeah, they did.
I'm sure they did.
I think they did.
Anyway, in a small town, when this happens, it's like, what? Murders aren't supposed to happen in small towns. In Texarkana, a big-ish but small-ish town on the Texas and Arkansas border. And I'm sure they were freaking out over it. This movie does not do that town justice, is basically what I'm getting at. This movie is a fucking shit show. Zodiac, way better. Fincher did it way better. Go listen to our episode 25. This is the Swearwolves speaking. We talk about Zodiac, and maybe we weren't as good at podcasting back then, but we do talk about Zodiac. And we gave that movie 4.5 heads, both of us.
Wow. That's a great movie. It's one of my favorite Fincher films.
I'm almost wondering why we didn't give it 5 heads, because I love that movie too.
It's great.
So,
and that movie's creepy as hell.
Oh my God. So good.
First time I saw it, I remember when it was over, I was like,
ugh. So good. Mark Ruffalo. You got 3
Robert Downey Jr.,
future superheroes.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
You got Jake Gyllenhaal, who played Mysterio. You got Mark Ruffalo, who's the Incredible Hulk, and you got Iron Man himself, Robert Downey Jr. So,
and they're all really good in it.
And none of them could catch Zodiac.
Nope.
This movie, on the other hand, doesn't have any future superheroes. It's just got Marianne from Gilligan's Island, the late Dawn Wells. She just died not that long ago.
Of COVID.
Well. Yeah, right? You know, the only one left alive is Ginger.
Really?
I think
That's
Tina.
sad.
I think Tina Louise
Tina
is
Louise?
the only one still alive from Gilligan's Island.
That's crazy.
But anyway, I'm giving this movie 1 Pamela Voorhees head.
Okay.
The only thing I will give it, the reason why it gets the 1 is because the creepy looking killer. I think the baghead image always creeped me out in Friday the 13th, and this movie did it before then, and they probably. I don't know if they got it from it, but they probably did.
I think so. Definitely inspired.
Yeah.
There were things about this movie that I liked. Like you said, the baghead thing I thought was cool. I liked the setting. Like I said at the beginning, I did not know this movie was going to be set in 1946, so I liked that.
Wasn't the
Prowler?
Yeah, the Prowler was another movie that took
kind of
place
around that same time.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. So I liked seeing the old cars and like old technology and all that stuff, and seeing an old serial killer. Mm-hmm. I thought the costume was really cool. I liked the way the guy moved, like very Kane Hodder, like with the heavy breathing and the mask like moving out. It was very menacing looking.
Yeah.
I thought there were some scenes of genuine tension, like that opening one with the car hood slamming and like pulling the guy out. The trombone thing, it was disturbing and sad.
Yeah.
But also, as a horror movie buff, it was kind of cool. But the things I didn't like, the comedy stuff, I know we've talked about it several times, but like it just seemed very out of place. The music didn't pull me in. I thought the score was very strange. But I did like that the movie had tension and there was some atmosphere. I just felt like it all could have been done a lot better. And it's funny that you mentioned Zodiac, because I have that in my notes too. Like, and I was going to say the same thing. Like, you want to see it done right, see Zodiac.
Yeah.
But I actually kind of enjoyed this movie. Not enough to give it a full recommendation, but I was going to go, I'm going 2 on this one. So it's a 1.5 overall.
1.5 overall. I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm okay with it.
I would watch it again. But I mean, I'm not going to go out of my way to watch it.
I was just looking up who played the killer, and it was an actor by the name Stuntman.
Oh, I looked it up. Bud Davis, I think was his name.
Yeah.
He's still around.
He is, and that guy's old as fuck.
Yeah, he is.
And he's done a shit ton of movies. He was a stunt coordinator for Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, that's cool.
Look at that. Yeah, so I'm okay with you giving it 2. I would not watch this movie again. I will not watch this movie again, Shauna, and your
Sorry,
birthday.
Shauna.
That was my gift to you, is that I watched this movie, but I will never watch this movie again. However, they did make a sequel to this movie, and the sequel came out a couple years back.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like a remake or something.
No, it's a sequel, which is really weird that it's a sequel.
Is it set in modern times? Is he old as hell?
It is, set in modern times.
He uses a walker.
And it's
kind of up to people.
It's kind of, it's kind of weird because the movie, again, kind of this meta thing. It's a sequel, but not a sequel to the movie, because in the movie, they're watching the movie, the 1976 movie, but the killings start again.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So maybe we'll watch that movie. I'll watch the sequel.
Okay.
And maybe we can
do that instead.
Do that
and
next
never
year.
Watch this movie ever again.
Maybe we'll do that next year for Shauna's birthday. Put it in our calendars. Maybe. But that's the Town That Dreaded Sundown. Average rating of 1.5 Pamela Voorhees Heads. If you have any thoughts on this or anything else, really, you can contact us. How can they contact us, David?
Yeah, Facebook, Twitter, the Slasher app, TikTok, YouTube. Just search the Swearwolves on those platforms. On Instagram, search the Swearwolves podcast. You can go to our website, theswearwolves.com, and leave a comment there. You can email us at contact@theswearwolves.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 623-282-1851.
So for the Swearwolves this week, I'm Brett.
I'm David.
And I'm going to go fuck a wabbit.
And I'm going to go milk some cows. Maybe yank on some giraffes. Who knows? The day's young.